Philippa Langley, played by Sally Hawkins. What a brilliant actress she is. I can't think of one movie that she has made that I haven't enjoyed. She's this quirky, this is Philippa Langley, the character she plays, quirky, intelligent, divorced mother who suffers from chronic fatigue syndrome. She's overlooked for promotion at work. At night, at one night, she goes to a theatre production, and that night changes the trajectory of her life. She's taken by an actor, Harry Lloyd, his representation of Richard III in the Shakespeare play of the same name. And as a result, what happens is that Philippa Langley starts researching the late King of England, right, Richard III, reading all she can about him. She determines that he's been misrepresented as a murderous villain. So at the age of 32, he was killed in the Battle of Bosworth Field. That was the last decisive confrontation in the War of the Roses, and it actually marked the end of the Middle Ages. That was back in August 1485. In her quest to find out more about Richard III, Langley, who was in her mid-40s, joins a passionate group of acolytes, members of the Richard III Society. Yes, there is such a thing. And one of the question marks surrounding the king is where he was buried and how his body, which has never been recovered, was actually disposed of. Now, through her driven sleuthing, Langley defies cynicism, popular and conventional thought, and academic establishment to actually solve this mystery. Yep, somehow she manages to do it. Her steadfast companion throughout, none other than, yep, you guessed it, Richard III himself, as represented by the actor who played him in Shakespeare's play. It's Richard III's apparition that appears only to her, to Philippa Langley, throughout her quest to uncover the truth. So, yep, she sees Richard III. It's been written by Steve Coogan, who also plays Langley's ex-husband John, and also by Jeff Pope. I thought this was delightful, a really delightful, charming film based on Langley's book, The Search for Richard III. Dave, what did you think?
Yeah, I found this to be a really interesting film. I thought this was a good example of how you go about doing a biography about an event when there's conflicting stories, because there was legal action at one point with this film as well, where the university that comes out of it looking in a bit of a bad light tried to stop the film from being made. But I thought this was a very, very intriguing film. I was surprised that we didn't hear more about the finding of King Richard's body, because it's such a fascinating way of how it happened. Sally Hawkins is absolutely fantastic in this film. I love the idea of her being this downtrodden woman who suddenly makes this historical find, despite what everybody is saying. It has that same feel to this film as films like The Castle for people listening in Australia, because it has that. She shouldn't be doing this, but she does it, and she does it so well, and it's all because of what she believes in. So I found this to be a great little film. It's not spectacular, but it held my interest, and yeah, I just adored it.
Yeah, well, it's based on Langley's book, The Search for Richard III, really adroitly directed by Stephen Frears, who worked with both Coogan and Pope on Philomena. So it's intriguing, it's dramatic, it's comedic, certainly whimsical, combining warmth with pathos. Jackie, have you seen this one?
No, I'd like to see it.
I hope that I've sort of whetted your appetite. Peter Krause, did you? I think in less accomplished hands, digging around for the remains of Richard III could quite conceivably have been dry and uninspired. I mean, you know, they're in a car park, but fortunately not so here. In fact, far from it. Right? What did you think?
I haven't seen it.
Ah, well, there you go. Well, much of the movie's success gets down to the characterizations, Dave. I mean, if there is a better, more consistently outstanding actor than Sally Hawkins, I'm yet to discover him, her, or them. That's how highly I rate her as a performer. Superb, as Dave said, in her portrayal of the too often brushed aside hero, and she displays vulnerability as well as persistence. It's actually the way she carries herself, as much as what she actually does, what she says, that greatly enhances her performance. And it's interesting. Steve Coogan is presented as really personable, not as a cad who's left the woman, isn't he? I mean, it's a bit of a different portrayal. It actually paints him in a reasonably good light, doesn't it, Dave?
Yeah, he's an interesting character because he's kind of left his wife because she isn't into the intimate side of the relationship in the same way as what he is anymore. But even though he makes fun of her with his kids about what she's doing, about looking for King Richard, you can still tell that he kind of believes in her. But also, I think I find Coogan's screenwriting here something of a bit of brilliance as well, because they kind of play with you as the audience in that once Philippa starts seeing King Richard and he's talking to her, you start to wonder about her mental stability, but it ends up working really, really well in the film as a vehicle for her to be able to talk out what she's going through at that time and how she's feeling. So it serves that purpose as being a voice for her to talk to and an ear to listen, but also makes you wonder about her own mental state as well.
Well, Mark Addy is compelling as well as the ultimately self-serving archaeologist that's beholden to the university you spoke of, the Uni of Leicester, which claimed much credit for the discovery. And look, I think it benefits from a lightness of touch. A very nice film. I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. Dave?
Yeah, I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5, and Greg King gives it a 6 out of 10. I don't think I didn't give you Greg's score of the last one. I want to dance with somebody, did I? 6 out of 10. That's what he gives this. Now, we're basically all but out of time, and we've got. I just want to mention we're